everyone, Noelia here from the Haliburton County Public Library and Community of Making, and I'm excited to share a guest artist today.
I'm Jenny, and today we are going to learn a sewing project.
So first we're going to share a cute little stop motion video with you, but stick around because after that video, Jenny's going to talk about the sewing, and I'm going to tell you about the behind the scenes of making that video. Ta-da! Okay, here's Jenny coming up to tell you about the sewing.
So what we've actually done is taking a sweater that didn't quite sit right on her. And what we did is we cut it up the middle, crisscrossed the fabric that we had cut, and then we sewed in little pieces of another old sweater into the sides and on the back to give it a bit of a flare. And then we put sleeves from another old sweater that was kind of ripped and paint stained and put it on to give it a little splash of color. And it's got a pocket. And there we have an upcycled sweater that fits better and looks fantastic.
Oh, thanks, Jenny. Now I'm going to tell you about using iMotion as a way to make a stop motion video. It is an app you can get for free on an iPad. So here's what happens when I click on the app and open it up. This is what the screen will look like. I'm going to select new movie, and then we have options for how we want these photos to be taken. Now, just to recap what stop motion even is for anyone who's not familiar with it, stop motion is an animated filmmaking technique in which objects are physically manipulated in small increments between individually photographed frames so that they appear to be exhibiting independent motion. So back to our stop motion app, I'm going to select the option that is manual, which means I'm going to click each individual photo, and then in between each photo I take, I'm going to move the elements, the physical objects that I want to be in the video ever so slightly so that it creates the sensation that this object is moving independently. So here's a bird's eye view of Jenny and myself working out the logistics of the video. It really does help to have two people to make a stop motion video, I found. You can set up your app or your camera to take photos on demand and maybe space them out time-wise so that it takes a photo every 5 seconds or so. But the key to making the stop motion look good is to have your hands out of each shot. So as you can see, every time that Jenny repositions the fabric to appear as though the sewing machine is sewing on its own, she has to remove her hands from the shot. I've got to take the photo, readjust, and so on. So it's a really time-consuming process, but it can result in some really awesome stuff. Another really important trick when filming stop motion is to have your camera stationary on a tripod. Another thing that would be ideal is to try to have a lighting set up in which the light's not going to change so often on you. So we were working with daylight, so when you watch our stop motion you can see that there's flickering lights, and it might take away a little bit from the film you're trying to make. So if you want to have more of a crisp look, you might want to consider setting up some real lighting and having a lot more control over that aspect. It all depends on what you want your film to look like. I actually love stop motion that is a little bit homegrown, not so sophisticated. I think it really lends itself, this kind of filmmaking lends itself to sort of silly, wonky subject matter, and so on. But that's all up to the creator. So once I've captured all the images I want to, I'm going to go ahead and export it to my photo library. And then I'm going to edit all of our footage inside of a movie editing app. So in this case, I'm using iMovie, but the sky's the limit here, depending on what device you have and what apps you have. Opened up my iMovie app, I'm going to click the plus button, and then I'm going to select the footage that I want to embed in the video. The footage I want appears at the bottom of the screen. And as you can see, I've already gone ahead and sort of separated certain parts of the video in order to work on them individually. There's a lot of things you can do to this footage. So when I've got a piece of footage highlighted in yellow that I want to work on, I can then use all the tools at the bottom of the screen to help me to do whatever it is I'm trying to do. Quote me on this, but I believe the white line is called the playhead, and that shows us where we are in our editing. So when I've got the white line in the spot where I want to edit, then I can go ahead and use my tools. So as you can see here, I am just splitting up this piece of footage. Now I've got that selected yellow, and I can go down to the bottom of my screen and select things like filters. So here I am scrolling through different filters. Then I'm going to select some text that I want to add, knowing that this text is only going to be appearing in the portion of the footage that is highlighted in yellow. So just this small bit of footage that I've selected, not everywhere else. Next thing I could do is add some audio, for example. So in the, I've separated the audio here so that I can adjust the volume or take it away completely. I decided to reduce the volume to 0 so that I can add my own sound effect. Next thing I'm doing is playing around with the length or the speed. So I can slow down the footage or speed it up. Next, I'm going to select audio on my right-hand side, and there's soundtrack options, but I've just selected a sound effect option to drop in. So as you can see, it dropped in the spot where I had the playhead, but I do have the option to change the length of that audio or switch where it is in the video. That was a really quick overview of how to film and edit a stop motion video. There are so many different ways and apps and choices you can make in order to make your own, and I do hope you'll try your hand at it. So thanks for watching.